Welcome to the DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined once again by one of the truest OG of all OGs, Mr. Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 D's. Paulie, what's happening?
What's up, man? Sunday night, close of a week, start of a new. Football looked good to me today. Could have been a lot better. The DJ play didn't get called back. A couple other plays in there that hurt, but I did have a couple of the real good ones that you needed. T.Y., Traquan, that was a beautiful thing. And it was nice to be on the cashing side on a Sunday. Gives me a bunch of ammo for Mondays, and Mondays usually my favorite day of the basketball week for me. It's usually there's actually a bigger slate for Monday than we usually get. I think that has something to do with the holiday coming up. But nice to have a little more ammo for hoops on Monday.
That's what it's all about.
It's a pretty nice slate.
That's what it's all about.
Exactly.
So it's all about making that money, building that bankroll, moving on to the next, conquering the world, conquering the DFS world. That's what we're here to do, right? This isn't I just want to win some money and go on vacations. No, we want to take over the DFS industry. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. Little by little, night by night, week by week in the NFL. Yeah, man. But I went through your article. We were on a lot of the same stuff this week in football. Obviously, Hilton, Traquan Smith, several other guys. Most of which were pretty good. Not everything was great, obviously. Some stuff that we didn't get right, but it's nice. It seems to me like the process is there. It's just a matter of putting things together. And I know you had a pretty good week, and it would have been a smash week had you just been able to combine just a couple plays. You know what I'm saying? Having 2 or 3 nut plays in here, only one here. If you could just swap that, and you would have probably be a millionaire right now. It's just
my best lineup. I had Cooper instead of Galladay, who I really liked Galladay. It just happened to be that was one. I wasn't gonna go all in on Galladay. I was scared they could just get blown out, how they have been. So of all the lineups that happened to do well, it was the one without him, and that hurt. And then the DJ touchdown called back hurt a lot. But yeah, it's how does that one team be the one that's good and has that one change?
Oh yeah.
I think that's what they call variance. I'm not sure.
I think so. Big fat fuck you to Carson Wentz. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Obviously, tilt was real, but he just caught the Saints at the wrong time. I mean, this is not the time. We were talking about before the show. This is not the time you want to see the Saints in New Orleans right now. You don't want to. It's just not the time. All right, as we mentioned, Paulie, we got a 9-game slate. We did take a quick peek. This is pretty much our first look. We did 5 minutes before the show, and we both noticed one thing right off the bat. And that is the Sacramento Kings. Let's just talk about them before we go into the positions. They are all extremely cheap for some reason. They're still playing extremely fast, so not playing good defense. They haven't been playing as well the last couple games. But still, it's out of nowhere. Everybody's kind of dropped. I understand that they got Bogdanovich back, but we got, on DraftKings, we see Buddy Hield is 5'6", even with Bogdanovich playing, still played 30-something minutes in their last contest against Houston, which was a blowout. Fox is 6'1". It just goes on and on. What are your thoughts, man? How do you?
Just 4'5".
Right. How are you? In your mind, you see that on your first look. What are you thinking? You know what
I mean? Thanks. I'm gonna play that. It's 2 super fast teams. I would assume this is gonna be the highest total on the board, and it's priced to stack. You can get a bunch of those Sacramento guys and then fit in PG, Schroeder, Adams, whatever you really want. So it's, I definitely will have a game stack of this game, and if it stays close, win you the slate. It's the first thing. A lot of times you get a New Orleans, Denver, and it's you can't stack all the, you can't get the guys that you want. You're not gonna be able to fit Jokic, Drew Holiday, and AD into the same lineup, but this game is very, very stackable.
Absolutely. And obviously everything we talk about tonight could change except for the Sacramento pricing, but a lot of the stuff that we talk about on the show, it all can and most likely will change as we get injury news. But looking at this slate now, unless something pops up, which I'm sure will because it always does, there's really not a ton of obvious value unless Oladipo, who's like the big question mark of the slate, is out, right? Like he's really the only one. And if he's in, there's not a ton of obvious value, which immediately forces me to want to look towards a mid-tier team. And the Kings are just kind of right there, you know? Because I feel like to really game stack a game or even just stack a team, right? When I say stack, I'm not talking like two dudes. I'm talking if you really want to play 3 or 4 guys from one team, they've got to be priced appropriately, you know, for it to make sense. And like the Kings so far, maybe it's OKC with no Westbrook. Apparently, I think Westbrook had it said daughters. Did he have twins? Or
he had a daughter. He
had a daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but that's why he's not with the team. He's already ruled out. There's also like the Hawks, like Taurean Prince is probably going to be out. You know, there's like Alex Poitras got hurt. He might not play. So there's probably going to be some value on that team. There's who are they playing? The Clippers. They're 7-point underdogs. Like, you know, they could get blown out. And those guys like Huerter and, you know, Spellman. There might be value there too at this point.
Could be, but even that, I don't think we can even classify that as clear value. Because then it's like which one? Yeah. It's like you know what team to go to, but now you got to figure out which one of these motherfuckers am I going to go to. You know what I mean? All right, man.
But definitely, if Oladipo misses, that's going to open up.
Yes, Tyreek the Freak. That's all I'm going to say. And that's just the minimum. There's more to that story, but Tyreek the Freak.
Oh, yeah.
That's all we'll say. Paulie, let's get this thing started, man. Let's look at point guards above 5K. Who are some of the guys that immediately stand out to you?
Yeah, it's an interesting list up here, actually. Like, we got Kemba at 10K now. You know, against Boston. That's just, like, not going to happen for me. You know, maybe Kyrie on the other side. The guy's just been playing that phenomenally. I think he'll probably get some ownership. Charlotte's pretty bad defensively. Mike Conley at 7-2 against Dallas is kind of interesting on a first kind of look. Eric Bledsoe at 6-9 against Denver. That game just happened, so we can take a look and see, like, positions did well. De'Aaron Fox at 6-1 against OKC, against Dennis Schroeder. Like, that's going to be probably, at this point, that's probably cash game chalk almost right now without any other, like, clear value. And maybe some Reggie Jackson against Cleveland. If you think that Cleveland keep that game close, then, you know, he's 5'5". They've been terrible against point guards. I don't mind that. I don't really love much of what I just talked about, but obviously De'Aaron Fox looks appealing to me, you know, but on the high end, I don't really like much up there, and talk about value in a minute.
Yeah, man, to me, Boston doesn't feel like a great matchup for Charlotte. It's a good matchup for Kemba because he's the only one that's going to have, unless they put Smart or, you know, they do a little switch, which they really can't do usually because you have Lamb, you have Batum normally. So you kind of have to put Kyrie on Kemba. But Kemba coming off of a 60 actual point game and 80 DraftKings point game, and now his price is up to 9.9. Like, my first initial instinct is to say no. Right? It's a pace down spot against an overall good defense. He's crazy expensive. Like, it's just no. And then, like, once you go down from him, once you make that decision, obviously you're waiting on Depot news. Ben Simmons did just do well in that last game, but he's playing Phoenix, which is great in terms of a defensive perspective, but it's also a team that's going to go a little bit slower. His price is also up now. Mm-hmm. It's not just him who's in a good matchup. It's his entire team who is in a good matchup. Mm-hmm. So, like, I see what you're saying. Like, I guess Drew Holiday would be the first guy that I can say maybe to tonight, right? New Orleans, if Elf just fractured his whatever, came back for 7 minutes.
He's not gonna play for a while.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He was back for a cup of coffee, hurt himself, and he's gone again. Like, the dude is, we're never gonna get to play Elf. It's never gonna happen. We're just never gonna. No. It's just. No. But he stands out.
He's expensive.
He is. He is. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. 8-7 for Holiday.
Down.
Yeah, in a pace down spot. And then like Kyrie's the next one, and 8-4 is not like a terrible price for a guy that can go for 60. The problem with Kyrie is you just don't know when it's coming. It's either when the defense he's playing is going to funnel everything to him, or if the rest of his team is shooting like shit, he'll just take over a game. And like this is a spot where he could. The problem is all his teammates are also in a good spot. So is he going to take over? That's the question. But Kyrie's obviously the right tournaments.
Another thing is like if Kyrie's having a smash spot, then more than likely Kemba is too.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. They're going
like,
at it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like because if Boston wins this game handily, then Kyrie's not going to get that 60-point ceiling. That was in overtime and like a close game, and so if Kyrie's getting there, Kemba is too. You probably want to like pair them. If anything.
Yeah. Any interest in Schroeder at 8-1 against Sacramento? The steep price. I mean, it's pace up, all that, but
yeah, in a stack only, I think.
Yeah,
like 8-1's just hefty. Like I'm not like, I mean, sure, like 45, you're happy, but I don't know. It's like I'm probably only doing that in a stack where, like, if he's getting there, then a lot of other stuff probably is too.
Yeah, the game is just shooting, going down to the wire. I'm with you there. Yeah, aside from that, like Doncic, from a price perspective, 6'6" is pretty low. I might want to take a look into that tomorrow. Trae Young at 6'3". The guy's been awful, and his minutes have been very insecure. We'll say. But one thing that you and I found out, like we kind of looked into, like I think it was like a week ago, is despite the fact that they have Beverly there, who we know is a good defender, point guards have been going off, fantasy point wise against the Clippers. So at 6'3", a guy that we know can go for 40. It's a tournament only kind of thing. Like he's only because you just don't know. Number one, you don't know what his minutes are going to be like. Number two, you don't know how he's gonna show up. And the worst part about rostering Trae Young is it's not up to him. He's got so many bad teammates that can't shoot for shit. And like in order for him to really go nuts, yeah, he's gonna shoot a ton, but he needs those assists. And like, what can you do when you hit a guy open and he can't hit a shot? What are you gonna do about it? There's nothing you can do. So that's one of the sweats. But we know
get one good teammate back. Actually, two.
Yeah.
Two. He's got two good teammates back now. The center.
Collins.
I can't think of his name. He used to be on Sacramento. Collins is like the best one back, but on a minutes limit. But also the center that was injured, the backup center.
Which one?
Not Alex Len, but
What,
the other guy. Dedmon, yeah,
Dedmon.
He's helping.
Yeah. He's back. He's back.
He's a guy that can score on assists because layup. Same thing with Collins.
Absolutely, 100%. So 6'3" in tournaments is especially at home is definitely going to catch my eye, right? Like. Very, very low floor, unfortunately. But we know this guy can go for 40. So at 6'3", that seems low. And then, of course, De'Aaron Fox. I'm going to have at least one Sacramento stack because these guys are too cheap. And it's going to start with De'Aaron Fox at 6'1", going up against Dennis Schroeder, one of our favorite guys to attack.
Yep.
Also, another thing worth noting, I think Ferguson in that game, who was supposed to be there for his defense, he was hurt. Is it Ferguson? Yeah, Ferguson.
Yeah.
He was hurt.
Yeah, he didn't practice today, too.
Right, so got to keep an eye on that.
He's looking down.
Yes, that could be a little bit of a blow to the defense. We'll see. But yeah, I'm with you, man. De'Aaron Fox definitely is the guy that's like cash games, yes. Tournaments, maybe pivot to Young, but still like Fox more. Take us under 5K, bro. What do you see down there?
All right. So Darren Collison at 4'9", with Oladipo out, he'd become interesting. I think we could look at Brogdon at 4'7". I don't mind that in that game against Denver. Shelvin Mack 4'2". They won't increase his price. Monty Morris 4'1". Definitely want to go back to this kid more and more, especially that he's not on the first unit. I got to take a look at what the guard situation is on San Antonio. They did demote that white kid. I didn't see how much minutes were played tonight, but they're getting a phenomenal pace-up spot against New Orleans. Like Mills or Forbes, one of these guys is probably going to be interesting down here at 4K. I don't mind Isaiah Cannon at 3,900. Don't mind Corey Joseph, 3,900. Don't mind Ish Smith at 3,900. A couple options down here, actually. Going to depend on, what the research kind of points to, who's playing what, that sort of thing. And let me see if there's any crazy cheap value plays. I think that's it. Wow, Markel Fultz is down to 3-4.
Yeah.
That's cheap. That is real cheap.
I mean,
I think that's it. Like, I could throw a Tony Parker at 3-7. The guy's been getting a lot of time and usage, but I really don't believe in that. Like, I don't believe it's real. So,
yeah.
but there's a couple options down here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's not a ton that's like popping out to you, like right
Yeah,
out
that
the
I'm like,
gate,
this is great.
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, aside from like the Aaron Fox, there wasn't a ton at the top that was kind of popping out to you. So like, if that's going to be the case and you're going to choose to go up or down, usually you would decide to punt it. So it's like
Yeah.
that's when you come down here, you kind of try to make it work. In reality, most likely, I'm going to stick in that range between De'Aaron Fox in that little vicinity. But unless something opens up, of course. But yeah, I do think that you're right. There are a couple guys that you can kind of stomach and look into and take a chance on. Shelvin Mack, as you mentioned, he's been playing well. He's been playing a lot of minutes. Obviously, you want to check the injury report for Memphis and see if they're getting anybody back that could affect his play time. And then, like you said, like Rudy Gay, this is a back-to-back. They're trying to be careful with him. They've been playing him a little more lately, but he could sit on a back-to-back. And if they do that, they may start White again, who is now 4-3 in a pace-up environment. So a couple of things that we want to take a look at, as you mentioned before, was that whole situation, right? Pace-up spot, cheap pricing, typically a good place to go for value. And I'm with you on Monte Morris, man. At 4-1, I think that he played 34 minutes against New Orleans, man. He didn't do a whole ton, but he got the minutes. He's better off not starting. We saw that experiment. That does not work. Let's keep him on the bench and let him keep letting him close like you've been doing. And everything.
That wasn't even an experiment. Jamal Murray,
yeah, he got in trouble.
It was like punishment. Yeah.
He violated the team. Matter of fact, me and Cash talked about it today. I said to him, I was like, how ideal it couldn't be any more ideal of a matchup for
Right,
like
that
Jamal
day,
Murray to have to get, you know what I'm saying, against the Hawks.
And that was the day like Monte Morris was already chalk as like a value play.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he gets announced as the starter.
Oh, it couldn't have been like a better like sabotage spot. Like and for the Hawks, it was just a glorious spot to punish a player. Like, I'm going to punish you because I'm playing where we honestly don't need you. So this is the game. This is it right here. Gotta love it. Shooting guards, Paulie, above 5K. What'd you see over there, bro?
Yeah, I mean, DeMar DeRozan 9-1. If Gay's not there, pace up. Definitely on the list right now. We'll see. Got to see if I think this game even can stay close and who's playing, but that's definitely on the list right now. You mentioned Drew Holiday, point guard. He is a point guard, really, with Alf out, but I just kind of always think of him as shooting guard. Don't like this price, but maybe, Devin Booker is a guy you can kind of always play. Like, TJ Warren has emerged lately, and it's like taken away from Devin Booker's offense, like his scoring. But Devin Booker had like 13 assists last game, and if they stay in this game, Booker's probably doing well. Phoenix is getting way paced up. There's definitely blowout risk, but like it's another one of these, if you're gonna play him with Philly, you're not just gonna have like a naked Booker, but if he has one of his hot days, he could crush 7-7. 7-7 is a good price too.
7.
Ashton D. Donovan Mitchell at 7-3. Like, he took 35 shots the other day. He's, they're like kind of, I think they're starting to sour on Rubio a little bit. I've heard like some trade talk, and, Utah didn't have the hottest start. And I think like they like having Exum out there for defense and then let Mitchell run things offensively. And he's kind of like, they're almost like having like a Houston like Harden role for Mitchell. So 7-3, I can definitely do that, especially if Oladipo's not there. He's a pretty decent defender. But regardless, that's this game should stay close, I would think. And that's a good price tag. I already mentioned Bledsoe. Don't think I want to pay 6-2 for Lou Williams. Gordon Hayward at 5'9", that's not horrible. Buddy Hield 5'6". That's tempting, and I got to look into those minutes between him, Bogdanovich, Shumpert. But in a close game, I think he gets way more than enough to smash value at that. And there's one other guy down here, Jeremy Lamb. Jeremy Lamb has been really impressive lately, scoring guards against Boston. The only position DVP that Boston's poor against is shooting guard, coincidentally. So I can do some Jeremy Lamb, especially if I have some other Celtics. But nothing too attractive again. What did you like out of that list?
DeRozan is somebody I'm going to want to look into. They're on a back-to-back. There's some blowout concern, but at the same time, like, I feel like New Orleans is their defense is so bad that you can never rule a team out. Like, you can never assume that New Orleans is going to blow somebody out unless it's a team that like Chicago or something like that. Like, just because their defense is so horrible that there's just like teams are just able to just kind of stick around. Like even when they're not having the best days. So DeRozan at 9-1 in a pace-up spot is interesting. Especially if Gay's out. If Gay's in, that kind of muddies the system because Gay looks like he's so much of a better play. But if Gay is out, then we know the usage increased to DeRozan. Even though he's burned us a little bit, we know the usage is going to be there. We talked about Holiday, who I do have interest in, but I do agree both of those guys are very high priced. After that, like you said, Booker, like I like the fact that he's getting the assists. Like that's definitely attractive. And like I think if Booker's going to have a good game, he may need that because he might draw Jimmy Butler defense, which could make things a little tough for him. And if that's the case, he can still smash. He's just going to have to, one, hit his shots efficiently, especially from deep, and two, he's going to have to be able to get those assists. He's got to look to pass. Ayton is in a phenomenal spot. Use Ayton against Embiid. We've seen centers go nuts against Embiid. So if he uses the right guys, TJ Warren's been stepping up, and he can get those assists, I don't think he's going to have a problem hitting value, and he's the magical number of 7-7, straight up cash. Right. So I can get behind it, but again, I'm not like in love with any of these so far. I mean, I think Buddy Hield is probably my favorite, and that's terrifying. I mean, that's flat out terrifying. Don't get me wrong, Donovan Mitchell, phenomenal. Like I like what you said about Donovan Mitchell, and it shows in his game logs. He's just been more aggressive. He went through this little thing where he wasn't taking a ton of shots, like 9 shots against Dallas. That was a blowout. 14 shots against Memphis.
Coming back from an injury,
right?
Right. He had that major injury at the end of the playoffs, and. So he's working off some rust. He wasn't like in game shape, all that stuff. So
right.
Like rounding into form.
Right. And like, it's like that game against Philly where he went for 43 at 7-2. He should have gone for like 80. He took 35 shots.
Oh yeah. He had no assists, right?
He had no assists. He had no assists. He shot 13 for 35, 37%. He shot 1 for 11 from 3. So like, dude, if he would have just shot 50% from the field, like forget about it. He's just smashing. So yeah, against against Depot defense, I'm not worried about that. Against Tyreek potentially, if Depot is out, yes, I'll take some of that. Yeah. So yeah, Mitchell at 7-3 is definitely enticing. But like again, like when you think of price, like Buddy Hield, right? Bogdanovich is back, but Buddy Hield is still playing around 28 to 30 minutes. Played 30 minutes in his last game, even with Bogdanovich playing. They're playing OKC. And he could potentially have a softer matchup if they start like Alexis Sabrinas or whatever that dude's name is. And this is a guy that we would just like 6'4" was easy to fade him. You know what I'm saying? Like 6'4", 6'2", Bogdanovich is back. Yeah. Fuck this guy. But now he's 5'6". In a game that like I think more than anything we're hoping is going to stay close because it seems like the juiciest game outside of the San Antonio New Orleans, right? Like it seems really juicy. And he stands out to me too. I didn't like why. Why all of a sudden did you lower Sacramento's price so much? Like I'm just curious. It's just because now I almost feel like I'm falling for a trap. You know what I mean? Like I almost feel like I'm falling for something.
Yeah, me too. I do too. It's like they're tempting you to play this spot. Really like the elite says like under 5. Right. Marvin Baggs is like 3'9". Willie Cauley's super.
Yeah, he's like 6'1".
Really weird.
It's just strange. Yeah, it's just strange. But yeah, I agree. There's so far I don't think I've seen anything aside from the Kings that was like, oh yeah, I definitely love this because like a lot of them are game for like roster construction dependent. Like I'll like DeRozan more if I'm playing some New Orleans dudes, sure. You know what I mean? So, but the Kings right now are definitely still on the show. Let's move it over to small forward or value town. I'm sorry. Under 5K. My bad, Paulie. What do you see over there?
It's all good. Let's see. So Nick Batum is the first thing that sticks out to me at 4,900, and I don't know why the last two games against Philly he's gotten this just been sent to the bench and shunned and only played 16 and 19 minutes. Like right after that, the first one I know why it happened. Like he took all the starters out and then ended up like putting Kemba and like Marvin Williams back in, but and Jeremy Lamb, but he like punished Batum and I think MKG was playing at that time or Cody Zeller, and I don't know what happened this last game. I got to look, but after that, he actually got minutes the next two games. The first one he actually did decent. That's really cheap. He hasn't shown us anything this whole year, but like his history tells you, like this is the time to start buying Nick Batum. I've got to like think long and hard on that. Who else down here? Garrett Temple, 4-3 against Dallas. I like that. Memphis is still going to be relatively shorthanded. Tyreek Evans at 4-1. With the Depot news, maybe even without. You know what I mean? Like last game, Depot did start, and then he left. Like that knee thing might be a pain. I have a feeling Depot is going to get ruled out though. Maybe Pat Connaughton. I know the Bucks are going to be relatively short. He busted his chalk. I don't think he'll find himself as chalk on this slate, and he's still getting a lot of minutes. So that's kind of interesting. Bojan Bogdanovic, another King. That's actually the only one who didn't really get much of a decrease, but he can 7x that price. And see if there's anything real crazy value. Nope, don't think so. Oh, maybe Kevin Huerter at 35. David Nwaba at 3,500. Those are options. Malik Monk is 3,700. Might be time to start looking at him. But we're through two positions, and I don't have much that I really like on this slate yet.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously Tyreek Evans, if all the Depot gets ruled out, I'm sure we're all gonna like even against Utah at 4-1, just too cheap.
Yep.
The other guy that's interesting to me is Jaylen Brown. I know he's played like shit, but if you actually look, the reason that he's been so bad, it's not a lack of production. He's taking shots. He's just shot horribly. The last game he shot well was against Chicago, a terrible defensive team, and he went for 31 DraftKings points. He shot 8 for 14. Since then, against Toronto, he shot 3 for 11, and against Utah, he shot 1 for 9, which resulted in horrible scores. But those are two of the better defensive teams in the league. Now he's going to be playing Charlotte, who's obviously been one of the worst out there. So I wouldn't be surprised. 4-2 for Jaylen Brown does feel like he's coming to that point now where it's like you just muscle it up, suck it up, and just play the guy and hope that he gets his shit together against a bad defense, right? Like that's
yeah, I do like that. I overlooked that. That's definitely a good spot.
That's cheap city right there. There's a chance. Garrett Temple, you made a great point with. We want to make sure they're thin, and if they are, we want to attack. And they should still be thin. I think the only one they got back was Caspi, and he's not really a part of their game plan all that much right now. So I think it seems to be quite all right. Connaughton's was a really good point. As long as that Da Vinci dude is out again, he's getting minutes, and like the most impressive thing about Connaughton is like he's getting there with rebounds. Like in that last game, he only shot 1 for 4, had 4 assists, but he had 7 rebounds, and that's really what prevented him from being like the worst play on the board because he still got 18 at 3.6. He's 4K, need a little bit more, but I like that call. If he hits all of his shots and he's going to continue to get those rebounds and work in a couple assists, like that's pretty solid, man. And even at 4K, in a spot where nobody else is going to go there. So there's definitely some interesting things here, man. You mentioned Nwaba. We got to check about Kyle Korver.
Yeah, he's actually expected back, and what's his name is back too.
Chetty,
yeah. So I don't know. He might not be actually as appealing now.
Yeah, but like you're right though. Like there is right now. Like if you wanted to punt this position, there's reasonable punts here. Like for sure. Yep. There's definitely ways to go.
Yeah. This slate is pointing to stars and scrubs, and we're going to talk about a star right now.
Two. Teasing. Let's do it. Small forward. What's above 5K that you like it?
Big D. Big D.
Giannis, as
At
BK would
home
say.
against
Giannis.
Denver. Yeah, he's 11-3. That's just too cheap. These guys just played, and I don't remember exactly how he did. I think he disappointed a
Yeah,
tad.
he got a 49. He didn't do well. That was on a back-to-back, and that was in Denver. And a 3 and 4.
Yeah, and that's tough. But still scored 22 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Like, and they ended up actually winning that game too. So just this game should be close. This game should be good. That's just too cheap, and it sounds like there's not a ton on the high end that's a pivot off. So I like that, and I like Paul George even at 10-4 with no Westbrook. Like against the Kings, like I think a 50 is a relatively safe projection for this guy, and especially in a stack. If I have to choose between these two, like in a non-stack lineup, it's Giannis. But I could see making a team with like a mini kind of stack of that game with like George and one other piece from OKC, 2 or 3 Kings, Giannis, and just value punts. And that could be a nice little build. Moving down the line, TJ Warren against Philadelphia. One of him and Butler is going to get. One of him and Booker is going to get Butler D. I kind of think it'd be Warren, but I don't think I'd play both. But I'm going to make a decision, one or the other. Jason Tatum at 6K, I could get behind that. But, there's a couple. Now we're talking about Tatum, Hayward, and Brown. I'm not going to play that many Celtics. We're going to have to decide there. Harrison Barnes at 5-5 against Memphis, I could do. Joe Ingles, 5-4, I don't mind right now. Rudy Gay, if he plays at 5-3 against New Orleans, would be a phenomenal spot. And that is all. I'm going all the way up at this position, that's for sure.
Yeah, this position, headlined by Giannis and PG, and even DeRozan under him, and then like it's like temptation all the way through, right? Like Big D, obviously just a freak athlete. Interesting. Like I expect that game to be very good. I expect the game to be very high scoring. These are two teams like Denver slowed it down and they're playing better defense, and Milwaukee's playing good defense. But the last time they played, it was a complete shootout. I mean, I think it was like 130 to 120. I don't know. It was some crazy ass score.
Yeah, like 128, 123, I think.
Yeah. Something ridiculously high. And we know Milwaukee likes to run. They're at home. And you make a good point, bro. Like the last time he played Denver, it was a 3-4. They were in the middle of a long road trip, I think, or 4-game road trip. This was their last game of a 4-game road trip. It was a 3-4. And they were playing in the altitude. So it was just a lot of factors going against him. And it's not like he had a terrible game. He still did all right. Just maybe some of the hustle stats weren't all the way there. Maybe some of his teammates couldn't help him get a couple other assists, whatever the case is. So definitely enticing. I think there's enough value that we've seen that we can make that work. PG, like you said, we like so many Kings, you're going to have to bring it back with somebody. Right? Well, you don't have to, but you typically want to in a tournament, is to run it back. Like I think the Kings are cheap enough to where you don't necessarily have to. But I do think, like, why wouldn't you? If Westbrook is out and we know that Schroeder and George are going to see, like, so much usage, and then, like, guys like Adams are going to be in a great spot, like, you would think you want to pick at least one of those studs to run it back with. And why not? The guys can go for 60. Sacramento's a terrible defending team. Makes a lot of sense. Interestingly enough, in that last game against Phoenix, he put up a 61. He had 11 rebounds. That helps. And Sacramento was another bad rebounding team, so that's a plus. But he shot 9 for 22. 3 for 10. He had 11 free throws. And that's really what it comes down to with George, man. Like, even if he's not hitting the shot, if he can get to the free throw line, the 60 is coming.
And he's just always involved in peripheral, like steal blocks,
Yes.
I think he can get you a couple of those.
Absolutely. But yeah, aside from that, like, after you get through those guys, it's not, like, totally clear. Like, the pricing doesn't fit, like, the risk that you feel like you're taking. Obviously, TJ Warren certainly... someone to consider, but 6'4", it's like, yeah, sure, I can do it, but it's not like I'm not jumping out of my seat to play it. I find myself looking once again to Buddy Hield, who's also small forward eligible. You mentioned Rudy Gay. Great call on that. If he does play, which I think we're both expecting him not to because they've been babying him, it's a back-to-back. If he does play, he's in a great spot. Like, forget about, I'm hopping off the Rose and all that, just coming to Gay at 5'3". But you're right, man. It's this seems like a position so far that we want to go to the top. Take us down to Value Town. What you see? Small forwards under 5K.
Yeah, looking, it's kind of ugly. There's a couple like repeat offenders from shooting guard. Juancho, Hernan Gomez, this kid's just playing awesome, getting tons of minutes, like 4,800, getting paced up. That's a yes. Bojan Bogdanovic, the Indianapolis one, even if Oladipo's there, like he's still cheap enough. He has these games where he gets hot from three, and if you're playing that game, I don't mind him as a value piece. Bielitsa, 4,500. Like, that's probably my favorite one of this group. Like, if they're going to compete in this game, like if you're stacking this, when they play really well, a lot of times it's on the strength of him having good games. And 4-5, like he's gone for 50s this year, at least once in a couple 40s. Like, he could end up being one of the better value plays on the slate. Continuing down, starting to get ugly. I see J. Michael Green without a tag. If he's going to be back tomorrow from Memphis at 4-1, that's decent, especially against Dallas. Doesn't rebound well. Seti Osman at 4,500. I think he played like 20, like low 20s last game, minute-wise. If he can see more, I got to see if that was like blowout assisted at all, like the lack of minutes, or they were just, easing him back. But that's a price you could probably take advantage of. Before he got hurt, he was one of the higher usage guys on the offense. A couple more, if-thens, like if Oladipo's out, Thaddeus Young is 4K. There's going to be a lot of usage to go around. If Taurean Prince is out, we got DeAndre Bembry at 3,800. We already said there's like a couple guys that we have to consider as value from Atlanta, but that's a pretty low price on Bembry, who probably start. And I think that Wes Matthews is going to be out again. Dorian Finney-Smith should start. He's 3,600. Not the worst thing in the world. Wilson Chandler is 3,500. He should play 20 minutes, maybe even more this game. I can get behind that against Phoenix. Really, nothing that I really love either. News could influence some of that, but if I had to like pick one that it's Juancho was the only one that like I really like at this point.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I think Juancho has been super impressive. Obviously, he won me a good amount of money the other night. That first one against Atlanta, he did me pretty well. Against New Orleans, I hopped off and I paid for it. He went nuts again. Won for 40 at just about 10xing his salary on DraftKings. It's a fast-paced game. The guy's getting rebounds. He's shooting really efficiently. And, like, the shooting kind of scares me. He's shooting so efficiently that I'm a little worried that what happens if he doesn't shoot so efficiently is going to be as aggressive, is going to take as many shots, and now his prices come up a little bit. Needless to say, wings have still done really well against Milwaukee. So, kind of a tough port. You kind of want to wait till he does bad before you hop off. It's like, you don't really want to hop off the hot hand at this point. And like he's a guy that we've all been saying would be a great DFS player if he got the minutes, and he's finally getting the minutes. So it's like you don't want to like just throw that away. After that, I agree. Bielitsa is interesting. A little concerned that
people.
Oh, I'm sorry. You broke up a little bit. What'd you say?
I said I hope people. I hope people see that price and think it's too much, for Juancho, and like it's not.
If he's gonna play them minutes, man,
what he's getting.
If he's gonna keep getting them 30-something minutes, man, it's massive. But yeah, other than that, I'm still like I don't see anybody that I like more than Jaylen Brown and Tyreek Evans right now in the cheap tier. Like there's guys you could take chances on. You mentioned Bembry. As long as Prince is out. Bogdanovic from Sacramento, you talked about him. I think 4K is way too low. We understand that when he's on the court, he's going to be the guy. He's going to be very involved. And so, at the very least, if you're not going to play any Kings, he's the one that I think is like, argue against that. He's going to get like 25 minutes, right? He's going to be playing OKC, and he's got decent usage of 4K. It's, yeah, but this still looks like a pretty good position to go to the top today. Power forwards, Paulie, what you see up there? We got one more stud, well, a couple more studs, I guess, to discuss. Power forward.
Yeah, I mean, maybe on AD, they're getting way paced down. Mirotic, Julius Randle's been playing good. I definitely favor Giannis right now over AD, but AD's been really consistent. Like even when he doesn't go off, he still gets you like the 5x, and at 11.6, that would be like 58. Don't mind him. Again, if there's enough value and you can get him and Giannis into a team. 10-1 for Blake Griffin. This is a super smash spot, but it's only in a stack because like he's just not gonna play. It's a close game, and you need him to get 60 now. So it's like only in a stack. I think that's too much to pay for Blake Griffin personally. LMA I like as well. He did well today. Maybe he's coming around. Maybe he's done with the Magic Act. Then it falls off a cliff pretty much. With Steady back, I'm not going to be paying 5.7 for Nance. Oh, Paul Millsap. This is actually the game that he smashed in against Milwaukee. I don't mind him at 6.1. Domantas Sabonis at 6.3 against Utah. Maybe. I don't think that's the best spot to use him, but he's going to be coming off the bench, and he might actually have a decent spot on that second unit. I gotta look and see. Like that's Jay Crowder playing the 4, so maybe Sabonis on the Pacers, and especially if Oladipo's out. And that's it, man. Like,
yeah, AD's in the conversation. We know centers have destroyed San Antonio. It's obviously a pace down. So if I'm playing AD, I'm most likely playing AD alone. Like the way that I look at it is like, correlation plays are fine, taking some San Antonio guys, some New Orleans guys, but obviously, like, if you're going to do, like, a 2-1 or a 3-1, like, you're going to want 2 or 3 from San Antonio and only 1 from New Orleans, right? Normally. Especially when the price is high. It's one thing if they're really cheap, like the Kings, you don't really care. But with guys priced this high, it's like you got to pick one, and, like, we know centers crush San Antonio. We know LMA cannot guard this dude. They don't have an answer for Anthony Davis. It seems like a phenomenal spot for him, even in a pace-down matchup. The concern, obviously, is like you were mentioning earlier with DeRozan, is the blowout potential, right? San Antonio, they can very well shit the bed, and New Orleans is rested. San Antonio on a back-to-back. But AD definitely, like, when you get the power forward, you look and you see him at the top. We talked about Giannis and Paul George, and absolutely, like, Giannis in a beast mode. Paul George would fit perfectly in a Sacramento stack, or, game stack. And then there's AD at the top, which is like, centers against San Antonio. Just gloriousness. So it does look like you're going to want these studs because the rest of the positions aren't that attractive. So we're gonna need to find some value, and like we I think we uncovered enough. Like, put it this way: the value plays we talked about, we didn't like any more or less than the regular plays we talked about that were in the 6s and 7s, right? So yeah, it does seem like you're right. Like the Sacramento build is going to push you towards balance, but you're still going to want to find 1 or 2 value plays to get in at least a couple of these studs, at least one of them. Because there is a pretty drastic drop-off once you get down there. Julius Randle is another way you can go. The dude just, like, listen, he's never a cash game player because he's only going to get, anywhere from 14 to 35 minutes. He has no idea. But when the guy is on the court, he's going to eat. My dude went for, in 27 minutes, 47 DraftKings points against Denver. And, again, he's going to be the backup big. So he's going to be a center against San Antonio at some point. He could feast. I don't like the price. But, I mean, what are you going to do? It's just he's mashing. Same thing with Montrezl Harrell. I don't love 6'6", but the guy's a point-per-minute machine. Atlanta's awful against bigs. Even with John Collins in, I don't think they're going to be good against. Like last year, John Collins played a lot, and he still sucked against bigs. He's not a big guy. He just has ups. He's super athletic. He's a great player. I'm not knocking John Collins. I love that dude. I can't wait for him to be back in full. But he's not going to help their issue. They're still going to suck against bigs. And Montrezl Harrell is expensive, but a big who is a high point per minute producer in a nut spot. But again, nothing that's over the top, making you like, oh, I gotta play this. Shout out to Jaren Jackson Jr. Dude is a baller. He's got a little magician thing going on though. It's not as bad as the true magician, but he's got he's got it in him. He'll ball out for 3 days straight and just take a night off and like just not do shit. He's gonna have Harry Barnes on him, so he's gonna have his hands full. Well, I'm curious to see that. I want to see that matchup. You know what I mean? I think that'd be a pretty good one to sit back and watch at 5'8". But take us down to Value Town, Paulie. What you see on there, bro?
I do see something that's kind of interesting. Get to that momentarily. So, not a ton again. Like you said, there's nothing that like, oh, this is a cash game lock kind of play. But there's some stuff down here actually. Trevor Ariza's supposed to play as long as he's going to get normal minutes against Philly paced up. If he'd be a guy I'd include in the stack because if Phoenix hangs in, it's probably Ariza playing pretty well. Dwayne Dedman, 4K. I don't mind that against the Clippers. Marvin Bagley at 3.9. 3.9 is cheap enough where you could play him in a close game build or a blowout. Like we saw, they got blown out by the Rockets, and he kind of smashed, went for like 28 at 3.9. That'd be glorious. So I think it's more like out of the stack. You play Bagley if you think like OKC kind of smokes him. But that's interesting. Stanley Johnson has a very good history against Cleveland. Fits the blowout, like go off in the end of the game. He's 3,700. I don't mind that. And way down in value land, we have a revenge narrative. Richaun Holmes against Philadelphia. He's 3,200. In the blowout build, he, fits real well. You may even need him for his size against like Embiid. Like maybe Ayton gets in foul trouble. I think Richaun Holmes could be a really nice value play on this slate at 3-2. That I like. I think that's it.
There's one play that I cannot believe you didn't talk about. I mean, maybe you talked about him at small forward actually, but this was like one of the best days of the year so far. It was Dante Cunningham night against New Orleans. He did the dirty to him, right?
It's true.
If Rudy Gay sits, Cunningham's going to start. And like, do we go back at 3-4? Still the pace up spot. I mean, he already got his revenge in, but I think it was more so a matchup thing, right? Like we knew they just don't have an answer for that position.
Great spot for him,
right?
And Bertans is out too, so there's like less, chance that he doesn't play.
Right?
Did he start today? Let me see something. I think he even started today.
He might have started. Well, I know Gay started, but that doesn't mean he didn't start.
Yeah, but no, Gay started for White though.
Right.
Yeah, Cunningham started. He played 27 minutes. He did absolutely nothing. But 27 minutes against New Orleans, good call.
Go look at the game logs. He does absolutely on every day. The only time he did something was when Paulie D said he's going to get revenge on that ass. And that's exactly what he did. Yep. So at 3-4, we can go back, especially if Gay's out. If Gay's in, we can still look at it, but especially if Gay's out. Yeah. Because then there's some more shots to go around and shit.
Yeah.
Get behind that. Yes, but yeah, there's not a ton. There's not guys you can take a chance on. Hopefully something else opens up, but if not, there's some stuff you could, a lot of it's just risk. I'm with Judge Michael Green too. You mentioned him earlier. Very curious to see if he plays. He played 21 minutes today, got a 25 because he is just a baller like that. You know what? That's the reason. There's our reason Jaren Jackson didn't do shit today.
Jaren Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Forgot all about that. There's the reason right there. Michael Green is back.
No, he didn't play today.
He didn't play against Minnesota?
Oh, no, he did. He did.
Okay.
21 minutes. You're absolutely right. Oh, yep.
So there you go.
8 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 1 steal.
Pretty damn good in 21 minutes.
Like that's 6x right there. Yeah.
Yes. Cookies and milk. Yes. Peanut butter and jelly. Yes. Things that taste good. That's what I'm saying right now. Things that taste good. Aside from that, let's go over to centers, Paulie. We'll go all the way through. No need to break it up. What you see at the center position?
All right. What do you think about that Rayshawn Holmes?
Oh man, I meant to comment on
3-2.
that, but hey man, listen. I mean, I think that like the blowout build, obviously, but you're especially right about the Aiden thing. Aiden's a rookie, man.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be giving up some size to Embiid, so foul trouble is not out of the realm of possibilities. And if that happens, like who else is it? It's him and who? That's it. They don't got anybody else to bring in, right?
Yeah.
So in a revenge spot, and one thing we know about Embiid, as good as he has been offensively, he's been atrocious defensively. Centers have been destroying Philly, right back.
Yeah.
So I do like that call.
Yeah. So center, we got Embiid at 11-1. It's a high price, but pretty much a smash spot. And I think I'm gonna probably play like an Ayton or Holmes in most of my teams. Like Ayton 6'5", he makes a lot of sense in that stack. Correlates with Booker getting all the assists, all that good stuff. I like Marc Gasol at 7.6. Price getting up there, but man, he's been playing well. Actually, now with J. Michael Green back, maybe that's not a good idea. Gotta see. Steven Adams, 7,500 against Sacramento. Bigs always do well against Sacramento. Willie Cauley-Stein at 5'8" in that same game. That's really interesting to me. Center's always deep.
That's what she said.
Jokic. Jokic against Milwaukee, I could do that. Tristan Thompson just continues to ball out. 5'5". Like, if you're stacking that game, you got to include him. Miles Turner's been really playing well. This doesn't seem to be a good spot, but he's too cheap. If Oladipo's out, I'm playing Miles Turner at 4.7. Gavin. Rudy Gobert, 7K against Indianapolis. That is good, man. This position's loaded. That's the last one I'm going to mention, but there's a lot here.
There's a lot to like, absolutely, man. I talked about AD. Drummond's in a good spot here. He's got a big size advantage over Tristan Thompson. You mentioned Jokic against Milwaukee. There's a lot we get into. Adams against Sacramento. Another situation. Gobert is the one that I think from a price perspective, him and Ayton are the two guys right now, and Cauley-Stein, I guess, those three guys are the ones that, like, price considering, I'm like, interesting. Gobert only 7K against Indiana. Just seems like a really low price, and that's really the position that you want to attack Indiana with. They're actually a pretty good defensive team, and they don't have a ton of bigs, so I can get down with that. Ayton, like you said, man, Rashawn Holmes, definitely a nice little backup pivot type play. Like, if you're playing like three lineups and you got two with Ayton, if he's going to be one of your core players, and you back it up with a Rashawn Holmes just in case he gets into foul trouble or the game blows out. But Ayton at 6'5" against Embiid, this should be fun. Ayton's going to try. Like, this is going to get him up. If he gets out of foul trouble, he's going to get up for this matchup. This is Embiid, and like, these young players looking at Embiid, and that's the guy they want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I can definitely get behind that. Cauley-Stein is only 5'8". I understand it's Adams. It's not the greatest of matchups, like 100%, but Cauley-Stein is only 5'8". And even with Bogdanovic back, his usage has been pretty good. I mean, these guys got blown out against Houston. I understand. But then for you to just come down and lower their prices this drastically, I just don't understand why they did it. But yeah, center is once again pretty deep. Like you said, Miles Turner for value at 4.7. Also, something we could look at. There's a lot going on here, man. A lot going on here.
Yep.
And that is going to do it for the position by position breakdown. At this point, got to remind you all, if you haven't already, check us out at YC.com. Get your ass over there. You are missing out. Get yourself a day pass, $2.50. You can try out all of our content. You will not get access to the Slack chat, but you will get access to all of the actual content. That's the cheat sheets from our boy Paulie here. You'll get Cash and DFS's tournament article. You'll get BK Bourne's cash game article. We do the expert poll with Thunder Dan, Stevie, myself. You never know who might pop up on there. And of course, you get the Y stream, which is a private stream we do for our members 2 hours before lock. We show some nip once in a while, so if you're into that. We mostly just break down the slate and shit, but you never know what you might see in that shit. It's behind it's behind the paywall, so it's behind closed doors. You don't know. But come check us out, guys. $2.50, you get the content. You won't get the Slack chat, which is a must at this point, but you will get access to the content. And once you like it, sign up for the monthly or higher. You get a monthly or higher, then you get the Slack chat. So it'll all come full circle. But go ahead, do the damn thing. Get a day pass, try us out. I dare you. And also, don't forget the merch is up. The swag is here. Go to the website. I think on the menu bar, I think we switched it. I think it says swag now or merch. I don't know what it says. One of those things. But you'll know when you see it in the menu. Go over there, check it out. We got hoodies. It is swag. We got hoodies. We got hats. We got t-shirts. We got all kinds of things for you to rep the nation long D style. Those of you that were with us last year, you know what I mean by long D style. I almost said it. Paulie was like, whoa.
Close, he might be in play soon.
Yes. Tyrone. Long D style. He's been playing. We probably should have talked about him. He's been playing.
I don't think it's there yet, but this might be the game against Atlanta.
Could be. Blowout City. Everybody getting long D'd? Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's do some top threes, Paulie, and we'll get up out of here, man. Top 3 point guards. What you got?
Right now it's De'Aaron Fox, Monty Morris, and Drew Holiday.
Ash likes it. I'm gonna go with De'Aaron Fox. I'll go with Trae Young, and I will go with Drew Holiday as well. Shooting guards, Paulie.
I like Donovan Mitchell. I like Jeremy Lamb. And these positions were ugly. I'll go Eric Bledsoe.
I like it. I'm going to go with DeMar DeRozan at the top. I'll go with Mr. Buddy Hield at 5'6", and I will go with Jaylen Brown. I think at 4'2". Small forwards.
Giannis and Juancho Hernan-Gomez are my 2 favorites at this position right now. And I can go with... you can give me Pat Connaughton, 4K.
Pat Connaughton in the house. Yeah, definitely Giannis and Paul George, for sure. And this goes without saying, but if Oladipo's out, guys, play Tyreek Evans. But assuming Oladipo is playing, for a third here, I think I'll roll with Juancho Hernan-Gomez, getting all the minutes. Power forwards, Paulie D.
Forwards with power. Domantas Sabonis.
Forwards with power. Yes.
Bielitsa and I'm gonna use guy you gave me Dante Cunningham.
Dante Cunningham, loving it, baby. Cunningham, Anthony Davis. And let's go Julius Randle. One of those guys is going to eat centers.
Yeah. So Embiid in a smash spot. I really like the Rayshawn Holmes idea at 3-2. And there's just like a lot to choose from here. Trying to pick a favorite's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say I'll go with Jokic.
Jokic, the Jokemeister. I'll go with Rudy Gobert. I'll go with DeAndre Ayton, and I will go with Willie Cauley-Stein. That is going to do it for the YSEC DFS podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up, that like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notifications bell so you are notified whenever we go live on the channel. We cover all sorts of things related to DFS and sports in general. We We do NFL shows, NBA shows, MLB in the summer. We got golf stuff popping off, NASCAR stuff popping off, MMA. You never know what you might find, but you want to make sure that you have the option to watch it. And don't miss out on it. So make sure you hit that button. If you are watching us on Facebook, give us a like and a share to support the nation. If you're watching us on Twitch or Twitter, give us a follow, give us a retweet. And if you're listening to us on Podbean or iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews, help bump us up those charts. All these things really help us out, allow us to continue to deliver the fire on the free every night on the tube. So do us a favor, if you're a fan of the show and you want to support the nation, all we ask is show us a little bit of love on whatever platform it is you are watching or listening on. Paulie D, anything in closing before we get up out of here?
No, man, just, check us out. It's going to be a good week. We get 2 nice football slates with Thanksgiving this week. Thursday, 3-gamer with a phenomenal last game. It's
Saints-Falcons.
Saints-Falcons, yeah, Thanksgiving Eve. Going to be a fun week of DFS. A couple college football starts to kind of pick up, too, at the end of this year. We got the divisional games, then the bowls. Then we might get some college football slates on. This is a good time. This is a good DFS season right now.
Yes. Nation, be ready. Be hungry and be ready. This week, we eat. For Paulie D, for myself, the entire Wise Tech Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.